No.
100%. Let's see what we get. I'm just curious. Would you hit it? Tell me what you get. So now he's going way out here. Almost the whole bell, right? Because 99 point, you could think of the empirical rule between -2 and 2. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
95%? Does everyone remember the
95%,
empirical
yeah.
rule? About 95% is between a -2 and a 2? This should be close to 95%.
96.4.
And there we go. Makes sense. 96.4%. Cool. Hey, I bet you could predict this. What do you think would happen if I did? Oh, do you recall me talking about the second enter button? I'm going to do it again. If I hit second enter, it just shows what I posted previously, and I can go back and make changes. So I'm going to put -10. And then I'm going to write 10. Can you predict what you think the answer would be? Let me hit the light. What if I go from -10 to 10? Isn't that pretty far?
Yeah.
So shouldn't it really be really close to a 1?
Huh? 1.
1. And you go, well, theoretically, it's not the perfect 1.0 because you could have some crazy outliers, but this is probably close to 100%. I bet you a calculator will round it and make it a 1. Let's see. It sure did. Cool. Hey, I'll hit second enter. Watch how good you are. I just like this because it gives you meaning to this. I'm going to delete that and delete this. What if I only went from 0 to 10? In that area? I'm shading where?
So, that will be.
If I went from like a 0 to a 10.
So almost half of it, 50%.
Remember, z equals 3 right here. These are z-scores. I'm going to start right in the middle and shade all that. Right? But you're only going out to 10. But see, 10's pretty far, isn't it? Because this thing gets really flat right here. What do you think this will come out to be?
Half?
50%. Yeah, let's see. I'm going to hit enter. Up, boom. 0.4999999. Yeah, it's 50%. Isn't that cool? So when you got it, I'm going to hit the lights a little bit more. So now, I'm going to keep this up all class. Normal. CDF is the button. And we put in 4 things, right? This is the what? Lower Z. This is your upper Z. This is the mean of Z, which is always 0. This is the standard deviation for Z-scores, which is always 1. Cool? Now, who's got the new calculator? What do they do? She goes, you put them in vertically, right? They start with this. Do they call it lower and upper? I'm curious what they call it. Lower, upper. They use that, lower and upper. Cool. Awesome. Hey, some of you may be thinking this way. The designers of this calculator, they're like, come on now. If this is always going to be a 0 and a 1, then why do you got to enter it? So I do want it, and I should just whisper this as a default. Absolutely, everyone. If I just hit normal CDF, and I only did 0 to 10, and closed out the parentheses, I'm going to hit the lights so this shows up. Will as a default, the calculator will understand that what's going on beyond that, a 0 and a 1. 0 to 1, that's the default. So if I don't feel like entering that, this will still work. Cool? Do I get the same answer? So isn't that cool? So I'll do that. Well, there's a reason I showed this to you. So I'm not wasting your time. I want you to do this. First of all, it's on the newer calculators. You are forced to do this. You've got to enter some numbers there. Second of all, if you do this, I think eventually, especially at the end of class and next class, you're going to find out there are quicker ways to solve the math problems if you understand this concept. If you think, I'll just put the mean here and the what? Standard deviation here, you might find that calculator very useful to do this math. Sound good? So that's why I'm having you do that. So if you're like, why are you making me do this every time? I don't have to. There's a reason behind this. I like to get you in that, repetition and pattern. Cool? All right, so almost done, everyone. I just want to make sure you're an expert. Probably about 5 or 10 more minutes with the calculator. Here's my next example. This is 1.8 for a z-score. And I'm shading forever this way. And I want you to get the area under that curve. Or another way of saying it, can you give me the proportion? The proportion of that bell curve shape. The proportion of that bell curve shaded. I like to say that because we're thinking probability. Cool? All right. So, piece of cake. What's my lower z-score?
1.8.
1.8. Now everyone, here we go. We're all thinking, he shaded to here, but doesn't that mean I mean shade what? Forever? What's the highest number you could think on a number line? Infinity, correct? Well, you can look at your calculators, everyone. The TID 483 does not have an infinity button, does it? So what we're going to use is the number 1 times 10 to the 99 power. Does that sound cool? And I'll show you how to hit it on your calculator. So what we're going to enter for this one is we're going to go normal CDL. All right? The lower z is the number 1.8. I'll put the comma. We're going to use this number. 1 times 10 raised to the 99th power. I mean, that's a big, big number, isn't it? That's big enough. I'll whisper. If I just used 10, it would have been fine. But I like to exaggerate this. So I encourage everyone to do this. It's a good, once again, thing to get into in terms of repetition. We'll always use this for our positive infinity. And then I'll put my 0 and my 1.
1.
So I'm going to show you how to find that big E. That big E means 1. 1e99, everyone, means 1 times 10 to the 99th power. It's huge. It's a very, very, very big number. You know? So I'm going to use that in a calculator. How do you do that? All right. So let me get on here. Just going to hit the lights so I can show you how to find that funny big E. All right. So I'm going to go to normal CDF. Number 2. What was the lower Z? 1.8. I'll put the comma. And now I want to type 1. Everyone hit the number 1. And would you hit, it's above the comma. Above the comma. So I have to hit second comma. Okay, I'm going to show it on that poster too. Second comma gives me that big E, uppercase E. And then I'm going to put 99. And then comma 0, comma 1. And I'll hit enter. And this will give me that probability. I'll hit enter right now. Now if anybody can't find it, I hit second comma to get that. It says double E, EE, it's 2 capital E's there, but it's going to give you that scientific notation. That's what it's putting it in, scientific notation with times 10 to the power. It's just huge, right? Awesome, so what's the proportion of that bell curve shaded? Close to about what percent?
3%.
Yeah, about 3%.
3.6.
3.5%. Question. Someone had their hands up.
Usually what I do is I just put like a bunch of 9s in it, and he got me the same exact answer.
I love it. Everyone, I love it. He's like, if I just put 10 here, I think I would have been fine. Do you agree? Seriously. But he goes, you know what I do? And I like your point, right? He goes, I just put a bunch of 9s. You know? Because the minute you're over a z-score of like 9, you're good, right? Hey, the only thing is that when we get to those shortcuts, I still think you'll be fine, but when I get to those shortcut buttons, be careful if you're dealing with something. I'm thinking in real life, if you're dealing with something like in the millions, like, you know those X I use? If something was in the millions, then you're going to want to use something way, way, way bigger. Okay? So there you go. But I love that idea. Because I just hit a few 9s and I'm good. All right. So great job with that. And when the answer came out to be about 3.5%, right? Almost done. We've done in the middle. I've done the right side. Well, how would you calculate this area? Or I could say this probability. Because later on, these are going to be dealing with probability questions. So how can I find that area of the curve? I do have to give you a z-score, though. You know I'm making this up. Does this z-score, does it have to be positive or negative?
Negative.
Because of my image, right? So I'm going to make up a negative z-score, something over here. How about negative 1.6? So how would I do that? How would I do that?
Would that be your upper score?
All right, I love it. So when you look at this, the shaded region is important. I use my left hand and my right hand. We're talking about that region right there. So my left hand is the lower. So what do you think I should use for my lower?
Negative 1 e to the power 99.
I love it. So for this one right here, I'm going to use negative 1e99. Ryan just put a negative and a few 9s down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Boom. What's the upper? You hit it, Randy. The upper z is negative 1.6. And then you get your 0 and your 1. This is the mean of z. That's the standard deviation of z. This time I'll let you do it. It shouldn't be much. What's the percentage? 0.055 of that curve shaded underneath. 5.5% shaded underneath. The area under that curve is 0.055 shaded. Cool? See, once you know how to do this, when we get the application problems, they're going to give you some real life numbers. Oh, the weight of the baby is this and this. What's the chances it could be a little bit higher than this or less than this? And we'll go, oh, let me standardize it with my calculator. We'll standardize everything. This is called, these z-scores are standard z-scores. We'll standardize. Standardized normal curve. Cool? So when I think I've done everything. I did a left side, I shaded a right side, and I shaded in the middle. You're an expert, aren't you? Can I show you one more thing though? And just put in your notes. You don't need this for test 4, but you will need it beyond test 4. So this is really for after chapter 8, but it's important. I thought I would show it to you now, and then when we get to chapter 8, when we get to chapter 9, excuse me, we can do this. So do you mind just putting in your notes? You can make a note like, I'm not going to let this freak me out now. Right now, this isn't going to stress me out now, but, you know, at least I know what I could do if I was curious about this. Can you do an inverse operation? And you go, what do you mean? Could I go onto this board and just shade a certain portion? Holland, the last percentage, was it like 5.5%? So I'm going to come up with this. Oh, and this is 10% shaded. I shaded 10%. My question is, does that calculator have the capability of doing an inverse operation? If I get the percentage shaded, can it report to me the
z-score.
z-score? And there is a button for that. But you won't need this until after test 4. Is everyone okay with that? Good. So you're like, all right, I don't need this. But it's called the inverse norm button. So to get the z-score, I hit what's called the inverse norm. And what you got to do is, right here, you got to hit the, put in the decimal point. It's got to be a decimal.
So
On the percentage
0.1.
shaded from the left as a decimal. In terms of that area. Percentage shaded from the left. But when you type it, everyone, how do we write percentages on a calculator? We write them in decimal form, right?
Mhm.
Without that, 10%. How do you write that as a decimal? Is that 0.01 or 0.1?
0.1.
0.1. So I'm going to make this decimal point really big so everyone can see it. 0.1, right? This is what shaded from the lower side. So I put left, but you could think from the lower end. The lower end. From the lower end. Okay. Negative infinity. Guess what goes here? The mean of z, which is standard deviation of z, which is, you know what the default is? What if you don't type these? We'll still do it? Yeah, good, yeah. You're like, I don't feel like typing this. Okay. That's the mean of z, that's the standard deviation of z. There's a reason I'm doing this. You might find it easier to do it another way in a second. All right, everyone, do this on your calculator right now. I'll do it too. Can we make a prediction? Should this answer come out positive or negative? Look at the image.
Negative.
Everyone agree? We know that. We're like, we should get a negative result. It's a z-score on the left side, right? All z-scores on the left on this lower side are negative. So, let's see where it is. Where's the inverse norm button? Oh, that same menu. Go back there. Where is it? Here, I'll clear that out. Oh, it's number 3. They even capitalized the N. And I just put 0.1. You can hit enter right now, it'll work. But I'm still going to put comma 0, comma 1. Just to emphasize mean of z. Because later on, here's my point, everyone. You might get tired of doing this. You'll shortcut your problems and go, can I just put the x values in there? You can. The calculator will work that way. It's pretty cool, but that's advanced technique that I want you all to eventually learn, use. But when you do that, you got to make sure you put the mean of the x's and then the standard deviation of the x's. So everyone, I mean, think about it. Do you really think the mean of the weight of babies is 0 pounds? No, right? So that's what I mean. All right. Negative 1.21? There you go. Cool. Hey, I'll try this real quick. This is where I need you all to brainstorm. Then how, and when this is the only button on the calculator, it gives us Z. Inverse norm. So how in the world, if it's designed to shape from the left side, how in the world could you find this?
It's a positive.
Watch, people are going to have some ideas. So when you're going to help brainstorm, everyone in the class, just brainstorm. What if I put here, and this is a 22% shade. Now you know what? I'll keep it simple. How about just 20%? Not drawing a scale, but what if I shaded 20% on the right side? And I need the Z-score right here. Well, this is the only button you can use on the TI-8384. So I need some ideas because you know the way this was designed by Texas Instruments, this only does the portion shaded from the what? From lower end. So I need some suggestions. Art has one. What do you think?
1 minus.
That'll work. You're saying type in, put this in there, and you go subtract from 1.
1, yeah.
That'll work. I love it. Who's got I love that. Who's got another idea? Ryan.
Just put it in 80%.
He says, look right here. And that's exactly what Art's saying. He said, right here. Ryan, very good. He goes, right here. Think to yourself, what proportion here is coming from the left side? And 100 minus 20% is, what's really in here? 80%, so you could just put a what? 0.8. Will that work? And remember, hey, autumn, everyone, just go, I don't have to worry about this till chapter 9, right? But isn't that cool? Now here's what I'm going to propose what some students have told me in the past. Art's idea, Ryan's idea are outstanding. But you know what students once told me, and you may agree with this, they go, you know what I'm going to do? They're just going to type when they see this. By the way, what came out on the calculator? I'm curious. Oh, how much? 0.84?